And one way to live out that spirit of service is through our support of the annual appeal. And to share more about this opportunity, now I would like to introduce you to invite Charlie Brown, our Executive Director of the Casa, and our lovely Father Paige Polk, the Rector of our church.
Thank you, Father Vincent. Wonderful message. Good morning, everyone. Father Vincent, he gave us an image that's hard to forget. He said that pride is like a driver that won't call the tow truck. God's mercy can't move if we refuse to admit we need help. That, my friends, is the story of the Franciscan Renewal Center, your Casa. Every day people arrive here finally ready to make the call, and they come carrying grief, exhaustion, or confusion. And through your generosity, they discover that mercy is not far away. They find rest, and they find peace, and they find God. And that's what your support makes possible. Each day, the Casa becomes a living expression of God's love. A sacred place where lives are renewed through spiritual growth and healing and transformation and service to others. This past year, through your generosity, that renewal has been visible everywhere. Here in Our Lady of the Angels Church, now more than 2,000 registered members gather and pray and worship every week. This church remains the heart of our spiritual home, a place where strangers become family and the weary find strength through our sacraments. At our retreat center, last year more than 22,000 people stepped away from life's busyness to hear God's voice, finding stillness, finding courage, and a purpose on retreat. And across our beautiful 25 sacred acres, lovingly tended by our volunteer gardeners, the beauty of creation calls every visitor to reflection and prayer. Now with 618 solar panels and a new water well, we continue to honor God's gift of the earth and ensure that the Casa endures for many generations. And through our ministries, thousands have encountered compassion in action. This year, 3.3 tons of food shared with local families. We built 2 habitat homes and more than 2,300 counseling and spiritual direction sessions, offering guidance, healing, and hope. Every one of those numbers tells a story, not of statistics, but of souls. Souls met by God's mercy through your care. Just let me share a few of these stories. One day, a man who had lost his job and his home met one of our volunteers. Her name's Gina. This was at a Casa Hunger Action outreach. And he told her, "I feel like I have a family again." Gina reflected, and she said to me, "If I can bring a little kindness, a feeling of connection, and maybe even a bit of hope to someone who needs it, then I know I'm right where I'm supposed to be." That's the spirit of the Casa, the humility of hearts that show up, and we let God do the rest. Gina didn't change the world that day, but she changed someone's moment. And sometimes that's all grace needs to work. Then there's Paul, who came to the Casa after years of seeking and searching. At the Easter Vigil, surrounded by candlelight and this community, he was baptized, and he said, I became a new creation that day, but I also found myself a new home. That is what happens here. The Casa isn't just a place we visit, it's where we are found, and it's our way of being. Hannah and George Miley, they're filmmakers, and they used the Casa grounds to film a documentary about forgiveness and the horrors of the Holocaust. And Hannah said, during our visits to the grounds of the Casa, we experienced the healing presence of God. This is a great place of grace. Imagine that. A film about humanity's darkest moments, finding its scenes of peace right here in the quiet of this holy place. Even in the desert, grace finds a way to bloom. These are not isolated stories. They're the heartbeat of the Casa. Each one is a humble prayer answered, a soul lifted, and a light that's rekindled. And through every act of giving, you become part of these stories. You help the weary. You help them find rest. You help the searching find a belonging. And the broken, they find healing. And in doing so, you too encounter God's mercy, not as an idea, but as a living reality that flows through this community. So as we begin this 2025 appeal, our goal before the end of the year, raise $510,000, but more importantly, to sustain and strengthen our 4 areas of mission: this church, our retreat center, our ministries, and our beautiful sacred grounds. Every dollar of your gift stays right here at the Casa. Every act of generosity helps somebody else make that call, to reach out, to find mercy, to begin again. This year's appeal, it's not about fundraising. It's about making God's love visible. It's about being that humble, grace-filled community that says, "Come, Lord, work through us."
As Charlie has just shared with us, this is a place of encounter. We encounter God, we encounter each other, and we encounter the deepest part of our very selves here. Today's gospel reminds us that God's mercy is never earned, but it is received. And when we give to the Casa, we're not polishing our resumes like the Pharisee, but we're opening our hands like the tax collector and saying, "God, be merciful to me and use me." The humility is what makes this community so very extraordinary. Through your prayers, your service, your generosity, you have helped build not just buildings, but bridges. The bridge between sorrow and healing, between isolation and belonging, between faith and action. If you've received the 2025 Annual Appeal Report and the Letter of Gratitude, you may have been able to see already how available and how extraordinary your ways of giving change lives here. If you've not received one, there will be copies available for you in the narthex after Mass. I invite you to prayerfully consider joining us once again, to make your gift, to create and to sustain a committed, belonging community. and to keep God's grace moving through this sacred place. I hope you can help us shake this place up. When you return your envelope, and you may do so by mail or placing it in the collection basket, giving securely online by credit or debit card, ACH, or donor-advised perfect gift, gifts of stock and mutual funds are also appreciated and accepted. However you choose to donate, you'll be putting your faith into action, and how grateful we will be. Together, I believe our mission is to continue the work of St. Francis and St. Clare, and that is to be sent as witnesses of gospel joy into a world filled with fragile peace and broken promises. So as Father Vincent reminded us, God's tow truck of mercy is always running. And through your generation, it's parked right out here on the parking lot here at the Casa, ready to bring hope to anyone who calls. Thank you for your faith, your love, your generosity. And together we will continue to renew lives through spiritual growth, healing, and transformation, and of service to others. Thank you for being a part of this mission. And together, we can truly make God's love visible.